How do you expect the counties to pay salaries to the doctors and nurses when money has not been released? The arrangement was that the money was supposed to be transferred to the counties on a quarterly basis. Then you can plan with it. But if you live from hand to mouth, the salary has not come from the treasury, it's being brought in and dribs and drabs, the services must suffer. The contractors are also not being paid. It's not only the nurses that are not being paid and the doctors. But despite the rosy picture we are given, our economy is in bad shape. And this you can take to the bank, because I talked to experts, senior experts. Public debt has doubled and foreign debt has overtaken domestic debt. We're borrowing and spending at an unsustainable rate. We're experiencing wage pressure and it will continue. The standoff between teachers and the national government currently underway might just be the beginning. As the shilling takes a beating, we should expect that more workers will demand to be cushioned through pay rises. Today the shilling is, I think, 105. And I'm told in another few weeks it's going to be 110. We have called on the national government to be prudent in the use of funds and especially in borrowing. We have also asked the government to embrace the devolution as a way of containing the wage bill. The wage crisis is a result of a national government's failure to adjust and align itself to the Constitution. The national government is retaining and paying an estimated 60,000 workers who have been made redundant by devolution. We are ballooning the wage bill. The standoff with the teachers is the most unfortunate because it also raises fundamental questions about the rule of law. Can a government go against a Supreme Court ruling and still enforce the same rule of law? We doubt it. And I've been saying that this government is a product of a Supreme Court ruling. You remember that we did challenge the results of the elections in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court dismissed part of our evidence, saying that it was time bad. And then went on to legitimize this government. We said we don't agree, but we respect the rule of the court, the verdict of the court. That's how it should be. That you can never say, I'm not going to respect the rule of the court. Can't pay and won't pay. And if you can't pay and won't pay, then go home. Because if that is going to be applied by every other member of the citizen, then it's going to be anarchy, which will reign. You must come up and say, the court has ruled, we respect the ruling of the court, we are going to work on the modalities of how to deal with this, or we are going to challenge it, the ruling, in this way or the other way. The strike also puts focus on the style of our politics and the need for us to embrace a culture of consultations. It reminds us of our call for a dialogue last year. We are no longer interested in that. And we believe that had the state allowed a dialogue at that time, it would have set a positive trend through which we could resolve so many emerging issues, including the ongoing strike. We clearly need humility in government. You remember, we said, let's sit down and dialogue. And there are several issues that are required to be talked about. After 5 years of this new constitution, it's obvious that there are areas which need to be addressed. The role of parliament, the executive vis-a-vis parliament, and the issues of security, the issues of devolution, what need to be devolved, what should not be devolved, all that require an assessment after this experiment. But of course they said, no, there's no need for dialogue. These people are only interested in Musumukati, and therefore we will not talk. We are also now saying we don't want to talk anymore. As we grapple with the strike, and the government maintains it has no money, we must recall that Kenyans are yet to know what the government did with the $2.15 billion of Eurobond money. I'm saying how part of that money was used is known, and it is in the Auditor General's report. And that the issue of the interest from the offshore account where that money was banked, which is still hanging out there, and that runs into billions of shillings. Who ate that money?